I'm Dawna Hetzler.
And I'm Sally Smith.
We, just like you, are bravely walking through the dark valleys of life in hopes of scaling joyful summits.
We believe that safe and trusted women are a force to be reckoned with. When we climb together, we can reach the mountaintop.
Many of our challenges come from feeling as if we are stuck while trying to ascend, hiding in crevices, waiting for storms to pass.
Might we suggest that you have a more proactive role in reaching the peaks of your own life?
Let's laugh at the untruths we were taught, from the common religious myths to the lies we believe about our situations and about ourselves.
It is our hope that our time together brings you solace from life's daily drudgery and a bit of lighthearted laughter.
This is a safe place where you are welcome, right where you are, even in your questions and doubts. So rise up, sister. It's time to conquer together.
And we certainly hope you'll say, "Now that's funny!"
Welcome to another episode of That's Funny. Here's your host, Dawna Hetzler. And Sally Smith.
Welcome back to another episode of That's Funny. We have a great episode for you today. Before we get into anything, well, first let's wrap up our topic here. We're going to be wrapping up this silly little lie that God helps those that help themselves. Now that's funny. And as we're wrapping this up, before we jump in, we are definitely going to share some news. I know we had our 4th of July celebration, and we were so excited to celebrate the independence of our nation.
Yes.
But now Sally's got some breaking news some breaking news that we want to share with you. Very first to hear this exciting news. And you've heard Sally and Shane's journey on like how things have gone and how things have progressed as they trust God. So then, without further ado, let's hear your awesome news.
Okay, well, before I actually tell you the awesome news,
Yes.
I have to tell you something. So a few weeks ago, I had a dream.
Oh, a dream.
I had a dream.
Okay.
A very, very vivid dream.
Oh.
That I was holding a little baby.
Oh.
And she had the most beautiful blonde curly hair, just like Shane.
Oh.
And I even knew her name. I'm not going to say it. And so Shane came over to the house, and I said to Shane, I had this most vivid dream, and I'm telling him the dream. And I'm like, "Do you have anything to say to me?" And he says, "No," and walks away. So
what are you talking about, Mom?
my mother intuition at that point was like, maybe. But I'm excited to announce that my dream was for real.
Yes!
And that I'm going to be a grandma.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Like,
Yay,
oh,
I know.
You've been waiting for this moment for so long.
Like, I feel like my whole life. Like, this is what I've waited for my whole life.
That's awesome. I'm
I
so
know.
thrilled.
I
And
know.
congratulations to Shane and to Brittany. As you know, Shane is our like executive producer, do everything dude. He keeps us in check. Like, you are amazing, Shane. So congratulations to both of you. That is fantastic.
I know. So Matt and I are so excited. Matt thinks he wants to be Pop, and I want to be Bubba, which is Serbian for grandma because I'm Serbian.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. Bubba.
Yes, Bubba.
So on the next episode, we'll say, and here's your host, Bubba. Oh, well, we're going to jump into this topic now that everybody's celebrating with us, because everybody who knows you knows that you wanted to be a grandma. So
My whole life.
Yeah,
Just all
your
I've
whole
been waiting
life.
for.
So this whole journey has led up to this very moment.
Yes.
All right. Well, we talked about having some questions and thoughts because we don't have all the answers. So then what we really did last episode, Sally said, no, I was the boss. And I said, she's the boss. But she really did sift through a ton of stuff. So do you want to explain how we kind of got to this point?
Well, we kind of, as we were going through all of this, a lot of the questions that we had we kind of already answered in each episode.
Yes.
So I really struggled with, as Dawna said, we don't have the answers, but I really struggled with how do we get through this just to make sure that we could wrap up this topic.
Right.
But we had the three main themes just kind of circulate through every question.
Yes, so it seemed like it was similar questions, just worded a different way.
Worded a different
and
way.
if you've asked the question and we didn't answer it, go back and see episodes 43, 44, and 46, because those are the ones where we really dug in with addressing, God helps those who help themselves. So anyways, so what'd you come up with?
Well, as Dawna and I were talking, we kind of came up with the prayer.
Yes.
Prayer is kind of, I'm so sorry. One of the things that came up with the three themes that were circulating was the biggest thing was prayer.
Okay, so that was the theme.
And powerful prayer, and is it really truly God's will?
Okay.
That was one of them.
So God helps those who help themselves. It's kind of like, how does prayer interweave with that? Is that what they're asking?
I think so.
Okay.
And I think this kind of goes back to when we were talking about, I think the big key thing is it God's will? Like, we could pray. I can say to God, God, I want you to do this.
I want to be a grandma.
I want to be a grandma. Which, thank you. I had to wait a while, but I was patient,
That's
like Job.
And did it.
And did it. But I think that, is it God's will? So when we are praying, are we really, truly, heartfully saying, what is your will, God?
Okay.
Because I think that's the piece that I know and I know that a lot of people that I've spoken to, that's the piece that they really struggle with.
Right. And we had a practice about that. Thy will be done versus Dawna's will be done, or your will be done, right? And I struggle with that too. It's a great question. So God helps those who help themselves. And how does that relate to prayer? So I'm kind of thinking on that. And as I've been praying about that, no pun intended, right? That was right. Was I thought about my journey. And so back in the Great Recession, you've heard the story of how, we kind of came here as kids and had $300 to our name. When we moved here, you were pregnant with Shane at the time.
That's right.
We built this whole kind of, aimed for retirement, and then 2008 came and David lost his identity and losing all that we lost. And so I think about the prayer that I've prayed from that time forward, and it's always been for David to find himself again, which he did, and based on all the challenges and stuff. But my prayer, I think, could have been more, actually, I know my prayer could have been much more specific to God's will instead of Dawna's will, because I just wanted to fix it. Right. So, God helps those who help themselves. Okay, one of the things you can do if you can't help yourself at all is you can pray. But in that prayer, make sure that you're really seeking God's guidance in that prayer. So what I found through the years of praying, because at first I'm like, just fix it. I want his identity back. I want him back being my husband, right? But what the prayer should have really been specifically is, God, you raise up a husband who is so filled by your spirit that he is so empowered to do what you sent him here for such a time as this to do, that you fill him and let him know you so greatly that whatever job comes along, whatever he does in the future, that if he loses that, it'll never shake him the way it shook him like it did in the past. So that's how I should have been praying. Right? So you fill him with your purposes, and then everything else will come from the abundance of that. But I didn't know that at the time, right? I just wanted get work, and get him back on his feet and get his mind right and all the things that I wanted. So to go back to what can you do to help yourself? Well, you can get in alignment with your prayer with God so that you are so in tune with God that you are praying his divine will, and then everything will overflow from that. That's what I got in my prayer time.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think that we also, as we're saying, there's a couple of things. I think that, and we touched on this in an episode as well, is when we are saying this, God helps those who help themselves,
Yes.
What is the difference between doing your part and his part?
Right. And we did address that in one of the episodes about, the boundary lines have fallen in pleasant places and it changes all the time. But coming back to prayer, one of the things you can actively do is pray, right?
Right.
So you can help yourself by praying, and that is an active thing that you can do.
Right.
And then, of course, be so close in relationship with God that you are seeking what else he actually physically wants you to do. And sometimes that's nothing,
Right.
which is me, right? Because
Right.
I can run ahead of him and he's like, hello, you need to come back here first, right?
Right.
So really be in tune with what God's calling you for that specific circumstance. And in that, you'll know what your part
Right.
is and what his part is.
Right.
And a lot of the times it's like, sit down and do nothing.
Right.
So-
But it's not saying you're not supposed to do your part, though. Like if there is your part,
Yes.
it doesn't say anywhere in scripture that we still don't have to do.
Right.
We might have to do
We
things.
might have to do something. We might have to do nothing.
Right.
But to sit there and tell your sister, God helps those that help themselves,
It's
is not scriptural, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
What was the third theme? That
And
we
I think
had?
the last thing is just waiting. Being able to wait on God.
we don't have enough time to talk about
I
this
know,
one.
we don't have enough time to talk
No,
about that.
I have been in waiting season for the last 3 years, and my waiting has been long and hard. And I will tell you that when you wait on God, that waiting is action. It is doing something. And you learn so much more about God when you wait on him for his timing to become a Bubba, right? Like all these things. He's
Right.
actually in the wait, he is doing something. And we were just talking to Buddy about this.
We were.
Yes, right?
Yes.
And the word that we were discussing was dormant. You might feel like you are dormant in the wait, but let me tell you something. Think about, we live in Colorado, right? The snow comes, and over the tulips that we cut back at the end of the season, those bulbs are still in the ground. Over the snow, the cold, all that stuff, do you think that God is doing something in that wait? And
Right.
he certainly is.
Right.
So God helps those that helps themselves. Yeah, sit there and let him trim you up and put the snow on, freeze your tush off, and then wait until it's time to bloom, and you will come out so much more beautiful and new than you ever were. So
I love that.
yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. We hope that, as we've said, at least we've discussed this topic a little bit more for you.
Yep.
And given you a little bit more clarity on how you can do your part in this as well.
Yeah, and that should be our practice.
Right.
Practice, praying his will and then acting how he tells you to do. And then, of course, just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait. Just you wait.
Just hold on. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to see you next week. We're not going to tell you what's happening next week yet.
Yes.
We're going to leave that as a surprise. You have to wait on it. But in the meantime, don't believe that silly little lie that God helps those that help themselves.
Now that's funny.
From the heavens high above, I feel the touch of his laughter and love. In every moment, tear and smile, God's humor is heard, every step, every mile. Keep walking, dear sister. You've got this.